So I got this comment on my Beyond the Wire video about how this channel is turning into a dead game review channel, and well, quite frankly, I agree with that comment. I just want to clear this up right. As an Australian, I was not able to find this game to have any other human beings playing on it. I had to play in a private game with a friend, and you know, it's a shame because this game isn't actually that bad. It reminds me a lot like Rising Storm 2 Vietnam, except if it was set in World War I. Now, I know to a large part of my audience that this might sound amazing. I personally don't think this game is that good. And I know that some people might get upset at me saying that, but I just want to talk about the good and the bad of this game. But, you know, before I get into this video, one, don't be a cunt. Like and subscribe. I'm sorry. If you're not Australian, this is a friendly greeting. I'm not actually insulting you. I'm more or less calling you like a mate. Like, hey, mate, you know, fucking like and subscribe. Don't be a shit. And two, this game satisfies a very niche part of history. Like, I have no interest in World War I whatsoever, so I couldn't really get excited and get motivated the same way I did playing Rising Storm 2 Vietnam, because I love that war. Well, I don't love war, I just love the history behind it because it's complex, it's juicy, it's sexy history. All I know about World War I is that some rich cunts wanted to invade each other, but you know, if you have an interest in World War I and are thinking about getting this game during especially the Steam sale, get this game because you can have fun by immersing yourself in the game's universe, you know, by using the weapons, wearing the clothing, and blasting some World War I music. It's very authentic. Unless you love World War I history, please just try not to get it because, like I said, I had to play with a friend and, you know, even yet again, that wasn't too much fun. Not saying that he wasn't fun to play with, it just wasn't fun just playing us two against some bots. Alright, so I'm going to start off by talking about the positives, why you should buy this game. And for starters, you know, it is dirt cheap at the moment, especially during the Steam sale, and usually even without the discount, it's still relatively cheap, but I'd still personally rather pay the extra money and get Beyond the Wire. But I also need to say is that I don't know how to read this font. I don't know what half of the words say on the menu. This is what I imagine if the French language had a font. Like, if the American language had a font, it would be fucking Comic Sans. But a good positive is that you get almost every faction during World War I, and this includes the Anzacs, multiple US factions, the French, the Belgians, and are they called Belgians or I don't know, not good at English, and much more. You can switch between them and, you know, unlock unique weapons or whatnot. Now, I use the Model 1887, one of my favorite guns, especially during the World War I setting, and in Beyond the Wire, that gun felt powerful. Like, whoever was unfortunate enough to get shot with this was gonna have a fist-sized hole blown through them. That's how powerful this weapon felt in Beyond the Wire. But in Verdun, it felt like your standard video game shotgun. Like, it didn't feel powerful. It's like after a certain range, it didn't have any, you know, oomph, you know, like how I described it in, you know, Beyond the Wire. It just didn't feel as powerful. Another good thing about this game is the atmosphere that it creates. And, you know, I'm gonna be 100% honest, when I spawned in this team deathmatch, I unironically thought that I had spawned in the Fallout universe. Just the way the ground was bombed and the trees were dead. I unironically thought I was playing Fallout, but in terms of the atmosphere, what I like is how they have, you know, scattered tanks around, as well as, you know, bodies lying around, which makes the battlefield feel, you know, bigger than it really is. Since seeing your dead allies, you know, it really motivated me to fight for king and country, or, you know, for the Kaiser. Is it Kaiser or Kaiser? How do I actually pronounce that? But I mean, you know, it really depends on which side of the war you're fucking with. But in terms of the gameplay, you know, it's good, it's fast-paced, and if you have a short attention span, such as myself, you will very rarely find yourself bored. It isn't like Beyond the Wire where it's a lot big and open. It's a lot more condensed, the maps, and for me personally, it's similar to like Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. It's not too big. The maps are a very good size to retain your attention and not become boring, like you're just sitting around waiting for something to happen. Now, you know, I want to talk about a couple of things that I don't like about this game, and first off, the game doesn't look too good. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, wow, these graphics are amazing. No, I mean, they're pretty average, but coming from Beyond the Wire, which, yes, you know, there is a 5-year difference between the games, but it was definitely going from something that looked good to something that looked, it's okay. Another thing has to do with the movement and animations. They feel a tad clunky and bulky, and even when the weapons are fired, some of them feel strange, especially the bar, or should I say BAR, which is actually easier than saying bar, you know, BAR, it's just much better. And you know, the thing is, I see a lot of videos, just basically reviews saying that this is the best World War I game, and in terms of authenticity, I can agree. I don't think there are many other World War I games that have put this much much effort into making sure that it is authentic and realistic. So I cannot commend them enough for doing this. However, for someone who just doesn't give a shit about World War I, this game just isn't something that'll spark an interest or is really worth the purchase in my opinion. But one thing that I'm seeing is people compare this game to Battlefield 1, and you can't really compare the two. They're like, in my opinion, these are two completely different games. One is an authentic, I'd say, basically simulator. That's what it's described as, a simulator. Battlefield 1 is just a around of a game. It's just not supposed to be taken seriously. It's just a muck around, it's just a Battlefield game, but with World War I aesthetics. Now, if you want authenticity, get Verdun. But I mean, if you just want to have a World War I setting, you just enjoy the aesthetics and everything, but you don't want it to be overly simulated, and you also want to have, an active population, get Battlefield 1. And another thing is that I'm seeing about Beyond the Wire is that after the free weekend, there are like no servers, no one's playing, which is also unfortunate because that game, in my opinion, has a lot of potential. It looked good. And if I had a choice between Verdun and Beyond the Wire, I'd spend the extra money and get Beyond the Wire because at least there's room for development, there's room for improvement. Whereas Verdun, it's I'm not okay, I apologize. Verdun is done. I'm so sorry. But moral of the story is, if you like authenticity and you like World War I, if you can spend the money, may as well as get it, play it, but you will most likely be playing offline with bots. But nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, because if you did, please do consider leaving a like, subscribing, sharing the video with your friends. Anyways, my name is Tantu, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.